Usually you wake up in the morning, and before even opening your eyes completely, your hand's already reaching for your phone. A few swipes here, a scroll there, and suddenly your brain's flooded with notifications, colors, and sounds. Feels normal, right? But here's the wild part. Every single time you use your phone, your brain actually changes. Its structure, its chemistry, even the way it processes emotions and memories, all being quietly rewired. So, how is technology reshaping the human brain? And could these changes be affecting your focus, your emotions, and even your happiness without you realizing it? Let's break down what science has to say about this hidden transformation.
Today we're tackling, I think, one of the biggest questions of our time.
It really is.
Does the technology that's always in your phone, social media, VR, does it physically change the wiring inside your brain?
Right. Not just how you feel, but the actual structure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all feel like our habits change how we think, but we're going into the sources to see if they change the brain itself. So, the learner. Let's start with a really foundational idea from the research.
Okay.
Imagine your brain is a huge, bustling city. It's got millions of streets, highways, little side roads, constant movement.
An entire metropolis.
Right. And every time you learn something new or, spend an hour scrolling online, you are basically building a new street in that city, or maybe upgrading an old one.
And that ability, that incredible capacity to redraw its own map based on what we do, that's what scientists call neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah. It's the brain's power to adapt, really, throughout our entire lives. So our mission today is to look at the sources that say pretty definitively, yes, technology is reshaping the streets of that brain city.
But the real question is how and what are the limits?
Exactly. That's the deep dive.
For so long, there was this idea that once you became an adult, your brain was, it was done, set in stone.
The city map was finalized.
Yeah.
That was the thinking.
And our sources just completely throw that out. The adult brain is always changing. It's strengthening old pathways. And maybe more importantly, it's creating brand new ones based on where you put your attention.
It's a permanent construction zone. It's not a museum.
I like that. So what's the actual mechanism here? How does it work?
It's actually surprisingly simple. It really just comes down to repetition.
Just doing something over and over?
Yep. If you consistently use a certain neural pathway, the brain basically flags it as a busy road. It recognizes the traffic, and it starts to invest resources there to make it faster, more efficient.
Okay, give me an example.
So think about something physical. Let's say you commit to walking 10,000 steps every day.
Right.
The part of your brain that handles motor control, balance, all of that, it becomes incredibly active. That specific street gets wider, stronger, faster. That's literally what we mean by rewiring.
So if a simple physical act does that, what happens when we throw something totally new at the brain, like the internet?
Yeah.
We're not just walking on old paths anymore.
No, we're building completely new kinds of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Digital interaction creates these patterns of activity that, our brains just haven't really evolved to handle.
Like what? What's so different?
It's the speed, the constant visual feedback, the immediate rewards, the split-second switching between tasks.
And the brain adapts to that.
Incredibly quickly. I mean, we found sources detailing studies where people who were mostly offline started showing brain patterns that looked a lot like heavy internet users after only 5 hours of using the internet.
5 hours, that's it.
That's it. The brain is just that good at optimizing for something new and engaging.
That's almost instantaneous remodeling. So where in the brain, where in the city is this new highway being built?
The data points to increased activity in the prefrontal cortex. Specifically, the parts that handle fast visual scanning, filtering information, and making very quick decisions. Multitasking, basically.
So you get really good at scanning and reacting.
You become a highly efficient scanner, yes, but that leads to the big trade-off.
Right. So the brain doesn't have unlimited resources. Building this super fast highway has to come at a cost to the slower side roads.
That's the pivotal question. And the answer is yes, it seems to. When you're constantly firing up those fast reaction circuits, the pathways for deep focus, for sustained reading, for long-term thinking, they get less investment.
The brain starts to neglect them.
It's called neural pruning. If you don't use a pathway, the brain sees it as inefficient, and it sends those resources somewhere else, to the new highway.
So the speed you gain in switching from tab to tab comes at the cost of being able to, sit and read a book for an hour without getting distracted.
Yeah. In a sense, yes. The highway is built for speed, not for stopping to admire the scenery.
But, and this is important, what about the positive side? We've talked about this a lot. Can we direct this power for good?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really incredible. If we shift from thinking about passive, everyday use to intentional, directed use, this same technology is. It's revolutionizing medicine.
Okay, so this is about targeted neuroplasticity.
Exactly. It's about being the architect of the city, not just a resident.
How does that work, like in a medical setting, with VR or something?
Okay, so take a patient who's recovering from a stroke. Maybe they've lost movement in their hand. The original road from their brain to that hand is damaged. It's closed.
Yeah.
So tools like virtual reality or BCI's brain-computer interfaces, they give the brain a new way to practice.
Oh.
In a VR game, the patient might just imagine moving their hand or make a tiny little twitch. But the technology gives them this huge positive feedback on the screen. It confirms the brain's intention was correct.
So the tech is acting like a coach, saying, yes, that's it, that's the right path, keep trying.
Precisely. It's a hyper-efficient feedback loop. And through that repetition, day after day, the brain, responding to that purposeful input, literally builds a new detour, a whole new set of pathways around the injury.
It's physically rebuilding the city's route.
Step by step. It's amazing.
It is. But that brings up a question for the learner listening right now. If this tech is so powerful, why aren't we all walking around as, brain 2.0, cognitive superhumans?
That's the perfect question, and it gets to the limits our sources talk about. There are two big ones.
Okay.
First, the changes from just everyday passive use.
Yeah.
They're subtle, incremental. You don't just get a massive IQ boost from scrolling Instagram.
It's not a magic pill.
And second, the therapeutic tech, the VR for stroke patients, it's designed to restore function. It's not really designed to turn a healthy brain into a super brain. It's for recovery, not for, general enhancement.
But that word subtle bothers me. Because if a subtle change happens every day for 20 years, weakening your deep focus, that doesn't feel subtle in the long run. That feels huge.
That's a fantastic point. And it highlights the single most important factor from all the research. It's all about the purpose of quality of your use.
The intention.
The intention. You and I could have the exact same phone, but if you're using it to learn a language and create music and I'm just passively scrolling,
we are building fundamentally different brain cities.
Completely different. Wise, active use builds strong, complex connections. Passive, reaction-based use builds shallow, easily triggered pathways that actually compete with deep thinking.
Let's make this really concrete. Give me a couple of examples of different roads being built.
Okay, let's take fast-action gaming. Someone who plays for hours gets incredibly good at quick decisions, spatial awareness, fast reactions. Those routes in the brain get strong.
A clear positive change in that area.
Definitely. But if that's all they do, the pathways for, say, reading a dense report for work, they might get less attention. They can suffer from that neural pruning we talked about.
Use it or lose it. Now contrast that with deep reading.
A regular reader builds strong pathways for sustained focus, for following complex arguments, for connecting ideas over time. Now, if that person suddenly switches their habit to just rapid-fire internet scrolling,
those deep focus roads can start to narrow.
They can. The brain is just adapting to what you're asking it to do now.
So to bring it all together, what's the big takeaway from our deep dive?
The conclusion is, I think, really clear. Yes, technology absolutely rewires the brain. It builds new paths, it strengthens others, and it's a game changer for medical recovery. But, and this is the key for you, the learner, that rewiring is not automatically a good thing. It completely depends on your intention, your purpose. Too much passive tech use can make us faster, sure, but it can also make us less patient, less focused.
So the advice, based on the sources, is really about balance.
It's about balance and being the architect. Use tech as a powerful tool, but don't let it be your whole world. You have to schedule time for the other stuff, too.
The analog stuff. Reading a physical book, taking a walk without your phone, having a real conversation.
Exactly. Those things build the deep foundational roads. That's how you build a robust and flexible brain city.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to take away.
Since we become what we practice, neuroplastically speaking, think about what you're practicing every day. Are you practicing the skill of deep, sustained thought? Or are you just practicing how to be more and more efficiently distracted?
Technology isn't just changing our world, it's changing us. Every scroll, click, and notification is like a tiny electric spark, teaching your brain new habits, sometimes good, sometimes not so much. So maybe it's not about quitting technology, but about learning how to use it without losing yourself. If you enjoyed this videocast, hit that like button, share it with a friend, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. Because next time, we're diving even deeper into how modern life is shaping your mind in ways you've never imagined.